Hi YouTube, it's Angel from Angel Sky TV, and I'm just reporting here in our Bedford location. We have a big special happening over the next couple of months, over this spring-summer months. What we're doing is we're offering 15% off all fine art in our store. I carry a number of local artists' artworks, and including my own. I'm an artist. And I just want to talk about why I think it's important to buy local artists' work. Okay, so this is going to be a little bit of a rant, and I don't mean to be preachy or anything like that, but I notice in a lot of people's homes that, people do hang artwork up, but it generally is artwork that they buy at Walmart or sometimes even the dollar store. And I gather that's probably because, it's cheap and, maybe they feel connected somehow to that piece of artwork, that what I would classify as kitschy piece of artwork. And you can look that word up if you don't know what I mean by that. And again, I don't mean to sound preachy. It's something I'm very passionate about. I've never really understood why people buy artwork at a place like Walmart. The reason for that is I don't think it's really thought out to the extent that I've thought it out and that a lot of artists like myself have thought it out. So if you think about it, when you buy something at Walmart, what you're buying into is a scam, because the piece of artwork that you buy probably was made by, I don't know, a 5-year-old, maybe not. Maybe it was made in a third world country or like a factory or something like that, where the person making the art piece wasn't really paid well. So that's step one of my rant, or why I wouldn't buy an artwork from Walmart, or the dollar store for that matter. The other thing is, when you buy a piece of art from a place like Walmart, you take away from your own community, because there are so many artists in your local community. I don't care where you are, there's an artist somewhere in the vicinity of your area. And they probably would love to just live off their artwork, like not have to work at Walmart. They probably would like to do that. Because that's their passion, that's their dream. And I know in Nova Scotia, because I've lived here my whole life, art isn't valued as much as like in other provinces, like for example Quebec. Quebec really values the arts. They actually do. I know people sometimes have issues with Quebec. I actually love the province. I think it's amazing. I think they're very forward thinking, and perhaps some of the East Coast could learn from them. I don't know. That's pretty a controversial statement, but I put it out there. And that's what I like to do as an artist, is to push the envelope a little bit, to get people to think critically. So just going back to buying kitschy art, like I said, you take away from your community. Walmart really doesn't have a lot of ethics, and that, I guess, is kind of debatable to some people. But most people are aware that it's not a really nice company. So I always like to use this analogy. Would you buy something from your neighbor if you knew that your neighbor was stealing the products that they were selling? Maybe you would. I mean, I'm not judging anybody here, but I'm just trying to get in the back of your minds. If you knew that their product was absolutely garbage, that it wasn't valuable, there was no love put into it when it was being made. It was just basically made, quickly, just to get it out on mass produce it, and just to make a sale basically. Whereas an artist generally makes their work with a lot of love and a lot of compassion. They might be doing it from a point that they're trying to teach you something in their work. There's many types of different artists, but they generally love what they're doing. So the work that they create has an energy, okay? Which I feel when you look at a piece of artwork from Walmart, it doesn't really have that same energy. One, because it's not the original. Two, it's basically just mass produced. And three, the conditions it was made in wasn't really or likely a very loving condition. It wasn't. It wasn't. Like I said, I'm very passionate about this, so I get kind of like fired up a little bit. And what else did I want to say? So when you buy from a local artist, you actually help that local artist survive. Like, that's their livelihood, you know? Like, I'm not saying that's their only livelihood. Everybody has a different situation, but think about it. Like, you're putting food on your neighbor's table. Like, why wouldn't you want to do that? Why would you prefer to give money to a company that's corrupt, that doesn't care about its employees, that doesn't care where they get their products from and how the conditions of their products being made, anyways, you know what I mean? So like I said, I'm getting a little fired up here, but I just want you to think about that. And that goes for all things, not just art, you know, like buying food at Walmart. That takes away from your local farmers, okay? Because the food from Walmart is being shipped from who knows where. And it makes no sense that we're shipping blueberries from friggin' Argentina when we can grow them in Nova Scotia, you know? And I know people want to have their blueberries year round and all that kind of stuff, but you know, I think that we're just a little bit too pampered and we forget and we lose touch a little bit with reality, you know? We're going to Walmart because it's convenient for us, and we're buying the cheaper artwork because it's cheaper for us. Me, but, and we do care about our neighbors and our friends, but at the same time, are we really supporting them when we're making those choices that are all about us? Those are the questions I want to put out there, and I know that many of us have thought these things, but we're caught in this system that isn't really for us. And that's a whole other vlog altogether, honestly. But for today, I'm just vlogging about art because I think it's something we all love, we all appreciate, and we're all really not showing that with our actions. There are so many local artists, not just only here in my store, but if you just go to the local markets, you know, the Alderney Landing Market, the Farmers Market, downtown, you know, all the different markets, you'll find crafters, you'll find artists there set up with their table, putting their self out there. You know, they're paying for that table. They're standing there all day in hopes that somebody will buy something from them so that they can pay their bills and feed their kids, and you know. So think about that when you walk by them and you don't look twice. And I'm not saying buy everything that you don't like, but rather than buy a bunch of crap at Walmart, at the dollar store, you know, that adds up. If you actually look at what you spend at these stores and you put it, you keep it, and it's just, it doesn't last. It doesn't have any feeling to it. It's empty. Okay? You gotta think about that. Please think about that. And yeah, and support local in all areas, like in everything that you do. You know, instead of buying tea from, you know, Tetley, go find somebody that's selling tea, that's, you know, that's their business. There's a lot of local businesses that do that. Blue Apples Naturals, that's one of them. Satya is another one, I believe, in Halifax. Anyways, that is my little rant for today, and I apologize if that strikes a chord for you. I hope that maybe somebody that's watching this says, oh, maybe I won't ever buy anything from Walmart again. That would be awesome. I know that sometimes you know, it is cheaper and it does save your family. And, you know, I've been to Walmart maybe 3 times in the last, maybe 5 times in the last 2 years. And I was embarrassed to be in there. I literally was, oh my God, I can't believe I'm buying something from here. I was really embarrassed. And it was my last resort. And that's how I operate. I don't just preach, I actually walk it. Like I want to support local people because that's who's around me. And I'm not saying don't buy anything from anywhere else in the world, that's insane. But I don't support a company that really doesn't give a shit, okay, about anybody but themselves and their bottom line. Because to me, that's not business, that's greed. And there's a big difference between business and greed. And this is something, you know, I will vlog about again, because I had this conversation with somebody that said, well, a corporation, their bottom line is, and their only purpose is the bottom line. And I'm like, well, you know, well, if the bottom line is their only purpose, then maybe they should think about keeping their employees happy, because that will help their bottom line in the end. So I think that you need to expand, or we all need to expand about what our concepts are about business and stop pretending this cutthroat ruthlessness is acceptable in our society as a whole, because it's not. And I will end here. I appreciate you watching. If you like this video, you can subscribe below. And I update, you know, semi-frequently. Sometimes I go little gaps here and there without updating. And that's usually due to technology and not being able to figure out how to edit. Anyways, thank you for watching. I'm Angel from Angel Sky TV, and have a good day. Bye.